guys, I just finished an audiobook. Let's talk about it. This is going to be Role Model by Rachel Reid. Role Model is book 5 in the Game Changer series. If you're in the book community, you probably know this series because Heated Rivalry is out. It is a fantastic show. Absolutely recommend it. But as somebody who's never read the books, I've been going back to listen to the audiobooks. The entire series is an hockey romance series. Role Model specifically is a opposites attract, grumpy sunshine, slow burn romance. It has a closeted MMC and an out MMC, and it has a redemption arc, and I'm going to put a question mark on that because we'll come back to that later. The entire series is told in third person POV, and this is the second book in the series that Cooper North narrates. I will give you guys a warning now. Probably going to be spoiler if you haven't read the series, but we all know what's happening. Let's talk about the story. This story is about Troy Barrett and Harris Drover. We met Troy Barrett previously in the series. He was a background character in Tough Guy. He was one of Ryan Price's teammates when Ryan Price played for the Toronto Guardians. He was one of the douchey bros that made fun of Ryan. He was basically the best friend of Dallas Kent, who was like the ultimate bro POS character. We find out in this story that Troy is gay. He's closeted. He's never told anybody, basically. Not his parents, not his friends, nothing. He did have a secret boyfriend for 2 years, so he is pretty comfortable with being gay. It's not something that he is still trying to explore. He knows that he is gay, but for so many reasons, he has kept that to himself. In the beginning of the book, off page, we find out that Dallas Kent, aka Troy's ex-best friend, has had some sexual allegations charged against him. And I'm sure this is going to shock everyone watching this review, but the women aren't believed. I know, shocking. Basically, the entire league takes Dallas Kent's side, but Troy starts thinking about it, and he thinks about Dallas's behavior. He's never seen anything specifically, but he believes the women. During one of their practices, Troy and Dallas get into a fight, get into an argument, and Troy calls him out. He calls him a POS rapist, and somebody videos it and posts it online. And Troy is beat up. Hockey fans basically call him a traitor. He is eventually traded from his team with Dallas Kent, and he's traded to the Ottawa Centaurs. So Troy's life is basically spiraling at this point. His boyfriend breaks up with him for another man. He gets traded to this team that's not going anywhere, and he's considered a traitor by the hockey world. So he's in a bad place when he goes to Ottawa. Who is at Ottawa right now? So Ilya 𝘠𝘠𝘠𝘠 is the captain of the Ottawa Centaurs. He went to Ottawa. Nobody knows why he would go to this little podunk team, but we know why as readers. Ilya recognizes Troy. He knows he's a decent player. He also knows that he's going through some stuff. Ilya in this book is omnipotent. I adore how intuitive Ilya is in the series. So Ilya takes Troy under his wing and just starts, integrating him into the team. Another person who recognizes that Troy is kind of like a fish out of water on this new team is Harris Drover, who is the social media manager for Ottawa. Harris is the absolute definition of a sunshine character. He is so incredibly sweet. He literally smells like apples. He grew up on an apple farm. He comes from a wonderful family. He loves dogs and pets. He's just wonderful. Harris also happens to be an out gay man. He literally wears pride pins on his jacket. He's out and proud and comfortable in his sexuality. And Troy kind of envies that. Harris embodies what Troy wishes he could be. So Troy kind of gravitates towards Harris. They become friends. And Troy basically considers Harris one of his only friends because he's cut ties with everything else. And Troy kind of gathers strength from Harris, and he starts to consider whether or not he can be strong like Harris is. And that's where we come into the redemption arc of Troy Barrett. Let me tell you guys, I absolutely adored this book. I think it is so important. I'm recording this in the end of 2025, and if you have paid attention to what's happening in hockey right now, you know how realistic this storyline is. This series so far, Role Model, is absolutely my favorite storyline. This was the first book that made me cry. I was crying tears listening to it. It is just such an important book. Specifically right now, right this second, I think this was a very important topic. And I truly hope that some of these topics are discussed in the show, because it's really what sets this series apart, is how Rachel Reid discusses the darker side of what hockey really is. If you've read Heated Rivalry, if you've read The Long Game, and you're wondering if you should still continue with the series, my answer is 100% yes. This was my favorite story of the series. I will say Tough Guy has my favorite couple in Ryan Price and Fabian, and then Ilya 𝘠𝘠𝘠𝘠𝘠 is my overall favorite character. Ilya is collecting queer hockey players in this series like Nick Fury collects the Avengers. He is fantastic, and in Role Model, he's a little more prevalent than he was in the previous books, so I truly adored that as well. And as a Ryan Price fan, I'm still debating if Troy has achieved that redemption arc. He was really horrible in Tough Guy, and he acknowledges that in this book, but Ryan is my baby, and I'm not sure if I completely forgive Troy, but I think he's working on it, and I'm hoping that he will get that final redemption in The Long Game. But we'll see. I will say that Cooper North did a fantastic job in this. I struggled a little bit with Common Goal, which is the other book that Cooper North narrated for the series. A lot of the voices kind of mixed together, and it was hard for me to tell who was speaking. But in this book, Cooper North was much more clear in his characters, at least to me. That was just something that I struggled with in the last book. But Cooper North did do a really great job giving life to these characters. And like I said, it was the only story so far that made me cry. So congrats to Cooper North for his excellent performance in this. And that's it. If you are looking for a MM hockey romance that has the grumpy sunshine, opposites attract, a character coming out, his redemption arc, that touches on the hard topics that really should be discussed more in hockey romances because it is so prevalent in the real world of hockey, Role Model by Rachel Reid. It's book 5 in the Game Changer series. Until next time, guys. Bye.